I'm going to start creating a game that I wanted to make. I think I've actually done a UEFN, but it's not. It's actually just Unreal Engine. And it's not Unreal Engine for Fortnite either. It's actually Unreal Engine I'm using. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be creating a game that I wanted to make a long time ago. And it's based on multiple types of games that I myself have played, and I want to make this game that's incorporating quite a few different types of games I've played into one game. And it's a bit like if you think of like Stardew Valley, where there was a guy who created that game and he was like, yeah, I want to make a game that basically I want to play. So that's what I'm going to do. First thing I need to do, I am going to have to look for stuff online and look at tutorials and stuff for bits and pieces I need, just so I can go, right, yeah, that's will work. So I'm going to put the chat over there. And then let's have a look. So how create a new landscape in Unreal Engine. Well, there's going to be lots of. There we go, epic designers. Management is comfortable creating massive terrain-based worlds using some sweet powerful terrain editing tools. Use the landscape tools to create immersive terrain. You can edit this landscape, create a new landscape height and map. Scratch using the in-engine. I have used Gaia before to create the template for an island, which I then used by importing the height map itself. But I actually want to sculpt this myself. So luckily we're in the documentation here, so I can actually look for what I need. So select mode, landscape there, and then landscape manage. So we're going to manage that landscape. Then for the time open landscape tutorial, automatically be taken to manage mode. How many other landscape artists currently in level you'll be prompted to create one in landscape manage mode? You can create new landscapes and modify existing landscapes with current pro. So we're going to do a new landscape. Here. Okay, if your level already contains one or more landscapes, the landscape tab will look different. Let's go editor section will display a drop down menu with a selection tool visible. From the drop down menu you can select the landscape to work with. So that's, I'm not landscape editor. So we're creating a new landscape. New landscape is what we want. Okay, so 1 is create new, 2 import from file, 3 enable edit 4 materials, 5. So I want to create a landscape which basically has a material, and I've actually seen stuff like this before where you can basically create a new landscape, assign the material to the landscape, and that's really what we want, really, isn't it? We don't want to just create a landscape and mold that terrain and sculpt it. We want to be able to, once we're sculpting it, like so what I need to do is look up for something like that. Section like a reduce your number of components, overall resolution, total number of components, etc., etc., etc. You have one choosing section size because the number of components increase. Build times and performance can be drastically affected. 63 times 63 quad per section is generally awakened, and it gives good performance. So 63 by 63 quad, which is what we got here. In the main viewport, there should be a view preview of the new landscape. Just here. So it's as you go back here. We can increase the speed of the camera a bit to maybe there, so we can see things a bit better in perspective. So how big is this? So this is our quad. Yeah. there should be a preview of the new landscape scene, blah blah blah. So isn't it a new level that I'm creating? So let's just go back to selection. There we go. Right, so we're going to create a new level. So we're going to create a new level. File, new level. There we go. Right, so we're going to have this as a basic level, empty level. There we go. So we have save selected level. We're just going to have that as an untitled. Save level as just untitled. That'd be fine. Then let's sort our folders out. We want to sort our folders out so everything's organized because it's going to get big, and we're going to want to. So this is the untitled level. So if I do that, that's what I previously had, and this is the no, close that. So let's go back to the other level. Where's the level I've done? Right, okay, so we're going to create a new level. So let's do that. So new level, empty level, create. Right, so first thing we want to do is put light on, so we can add that, which should be light in here, directional light. And then we're going to add that lighting, point light. If I remember correctly, we want basic lighting. We want lights, skylight, and then lights. No, so that's not what we are. It's been a while. Get rid of that. There we go. Right, okay. So we want to create file. We want to add fog and all that sort of thing into the world. So I've just got to remember how to add this basic character, lights, directional light, cinematic, shapes, media plate, visual effects, volumes. Hang on, visual effects. Is it the visual effects in the sky? Is it basic? No. So I'm going to have to look up line to see what I'm going to do. So watch me get started. There's a purple tool creating new to Unreal Engine. Install menu, create your first project in Unreal edit interface, viewport controls, viewport toolbar. I want to package in Unreal, onboard licensing, that's great. Understanding the basics. There we go. Foundational knowledge. Tools and editor, coordinate system, space, directional structure. Does it have thing for lighting? All settings maybe. Panel, you can use the panel to everything. The world settings is that on the right. There's our world settings. Okay, so we're going to go to the learning side of things, and we want to go for creating a. What do we want to do? We want to create. Ooh, that looks good. Resident Evil. That looks good. So we're looking for create a level. We're looking for maybe tutorial on it. Okay, we'll go and see. We'll see where we can get a in such a long time. I'm just trying to remember what everything is. And correct level, lighting. Getting started. Download, install first out engine, create your first game. There we go. Package, publish, and distribute. So maybe let's have a quick look in YouTube. Create a island map in Unreal Engine 5, preferably. Right. Okay. So we've got one here. So creating an 20 minute tutorial. That'll be fine. That'll be fine. Let's have a look. Is that going to be using another third-party software to do it? So, as an import great huge height maps, yeah. So we can use the height map, I suppose. There was a guy
to create enormous open world landscapes inside of Unreal Engine. It's going to take about 1.5 minutes, so let's get started. Okay, so this will work in any projects you have, but I'm just going to create a new one for the sake of the video. And the first thing we're going to do is go to File and create a new level, just like this. Then we're going to click Empty Open World, click Create, and we have this blank project. Okay, now we're going to go to Window, Environmental Light Mixer, click all the...
Right, so Window, Environmental Light Mixer. There we go. Got you. There we go. That's what I wanted. Boom.
Buttons just like this. Exit off. Go to landscape mode. And then what you're going to do, come to this website right here. Yeah, go to here.
Right, what's the name of the website? So he's on about, usually they like, what is it? Go to this website here, but then once you go to the website here, you have to pay for something. What's that saying? manticorp.github.io. Right, so now I don't want to do it like that. That's not what I wanted, but thank you very much for the lighting side of things. I appreciate that. That Smart Poly. Smart Poly, there you go.
Hello guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, I will show you how to make this open world map in Unreal Engine 5 in under 20 minutes using only free assets that you can download from the Unreal Engine Marketplace. I will show you how to create this realistic open world map from scratch, starting by creating the landscape shape by using the built-in landmass plugin, which allows you to create dynamic terrain just by dragging around some simple splines. I will show you how to customize the settings so you can add things like mountains, hills, valleys, and create any type of terrain that you can imagine just by using these simple tools. Then we will download a free realistic landscape material that you can apply to our terrain, and I will show you how to fully customize the material settings. After that, we will add an ocean using the built-in water plugin inside of Unreal Engine, and I will also show you how to fully customize the water material to make it look more realistic. Finally, we'll add some free trees from the Unreal Engine Marketplace, and we'll paint our landscape with the foliage to create a densely populated forest. And if you guys enjoy this free tutorial, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to reach over 200,000 subscribers by the end of this year, and also I will be uploading more free tutorials just like this one, so you guys do not want to miss out on any future uploads. Also, feel free to hit the like button and leave a comment down below on what video tutorial you guys want to see me upload next. Now, before we get into the video, if you guys are genuinely interested into what goes into how to create a drag and drop inventory system, a crafting system where you can craft all sorts of different items, a harvesting system where you can chop down trees, you can mine rocks and bushes. We create an open world map that features a swimmable enable ocean, lakes, rivers, mountains, and much more. We create a procedural spawning AI system, a base building system, and rating system, and we add Steam voice chat, player tribes, and so much more. This course has over 250 lectures, which spans over 20 chapters, and over 70 plus hours of course content. So check out the multiplayer survival game course bundle on my website, smartpoly.teachable.com, and make sure you pick up the course before I raise the price of the bundle later.
Well, what we'll do is we'll go to there, and then I'm going to look at his course, and then we'll worry about that anyway. So let's
on, and without further ado, let's get right into the video.
Hello everyone, today I am testing an interesting tool called HitM.
Alright, so the first thing that we'll need to do is go ahead and launch Unreal Engine 5. And once it launches the Unreal Engine, it's going to tell us that it's experimental, so we can go ahead and use this for our map. So let's go ahead and get started. So first thing we'll need to do is we'll need to actually enable a plugin. So I want to go to your edit plugins, head over to the plugins and search for the landmass plugin.
So in plugins landmass. I'm going to have to bring that over here, and let's search landmass. I would have thought I'd already got that. No, I haven't got landmass. Oh, it's a beta. Yes, that's fine. Restart now. Save selected. We're going to call this level 1. It's easier. What level 1? This could be interesting. It'll be fun. I've been putting this off for years. Okay, so let's just. We don't need that. That's already sorry. That's kind of can go there. Doesn't matter. I mean, where's our level? Level 1. So we're going to open our level again.
We have this landmass plugin. You want to go ahead and hit the checkbox to enable that plugin. It's going to tell us that it's experimental, so we'll just click yes and click restart now. Now we'll go ahead and restart our project and enable the landmass plugin. Now we can go ahead and create a landscape. So let's go to the landscape mode. So select the selection mode and go into landscape. And in here, we're going to change our landscape settings. So first of all, make sure that you have enable edit layers checked. So this.
Okay, all right. So let's create a new landscape then. All right, let's create a landscape. What is he asking me to check? Check enable edit layers. Okay.
Allows us to create things like blueprint brushes and to create mountains and all sorts of different types of terrain using the landmass plugin. So make sure that you have that checked. Then we can tweak things like the overall resolution, which will change the size of our terrain. So I'm going to set my overall resolution to 1000 by 9 by 1000 by 9. And you can see it increases the size of our landscape. Now you guys can mess around with these settings and you can create even larger terrains, but this will do for the purpose of this tutorial. So just go ahead and click create. So once you go ahead and create the landscape, as you can see, we have our landscape.
Let's let that create. This is going to be a lot of me watching a lot of tutorials and not watching a lot of tutorials, because some stuff I know, some stuff I don't know, some stuff I forgot. It's been a while since I've used Unreal Engine like this. I'm using it in Fortnite Creative. Well, that is like a big. Well, let's zoom out a bit for a start. So maybe you can make it go a little bit faster, please. Basically want to look at it like that.
Over here, we want to go ahead and add a blueprint brush. So you want to head over and click on this blueprint button right here. And if you don't see this blueprint button, it's because you probably haven't enabled the plugin. So make sure you have the plugin enabled. So select the blueprint, and then over here in the blueprint brush, you want to hit the drop down and select this custom landmass brush. So custom brush underscore landmass, and give it a second because it might need to load it. But once it's loaded it, you can click anywhere on your map or on your landscape. And once you click onto that landscape, you can see that it adds this triangle. Also note that when you do this, it's going to take a while for it to load. So it took
Oh yeah, I see it. I see it. I see. There's the triangle. Cool. The game I want to make is going to be very, very big, but the problem is it's too big. And that's what's put me off making it, because it's just like so daunting, the idea of what I've got to make here. So I've decided to basically bring it right down to a very small type game, and it's going to start very simple.
30 seconds to load.
What he mentioned in his course earlier, which is basically harvesting and stuff like that.
But once you click on the landscape, it will add this spline point. So we have this triangle here. And now with this triangle shape selected, we can take any of these points and move this around, and we can create sort of a shape of our terrain. Now, we actually want to select the whole thing. So select anywhere else on the map and reselect the landscape spline. And
Okay, yeah, I've got you. Got it. Now,
once you've done that, you should be able to access the brush settings. So now in the settings, we can see things like fall off, material, static mesh, blurring, curl noise. So we have all of these settings because we've selected the entire object. So the first thing that we want to set is the fall off. So expand the settings under the...
Now is it under details? Details, over under the details. So I've got that selected. It's not light, isn't it? It's not light on. Why is it giving me light settings? I have no idea. Oh, and fall off material. There. New fur. Yeah, good. Now, for some reason, for me, it's not giving me the options. That's a brush. Oh, you know why? Because I'm down here. For some reason, the details folder is down there. It should actually all be together. There we go. Right, so let's go fall off settings. So where's he on about?
Fall off. I'm going to click.
So he's fall off there.
On this cap shape, and what you see that happens when you click on that is if I move this up, you can see that it caps the top of this triangle, so we don't have this peak. So this is really good for creating sort of an island where you need to have a flat terrain to sort of work on. Then we can change things like the fall off angle. So this is...
Oh yeah, I see it now. I do see that. So our shape is... There you go, that's flat. Let's make it a bit bigger though. I don't want
Is how steep this fall off is. So we can change this down to 30, but now we can select the brush. So let's actually select all of it. So if you select off and reselect it, we can move the entire.
We have got to the point where literally anybody can build a fully working app without knowing how to code. This is base 40.
Brush. We're going to move this up, and it might be hard to see our brush in our map. So if you hit Control plus L, you can change the lighting in your. Your scene, and we can actually move the sun around like so by repositioning by just hitting Control and L. And if you rotate your mouse around, you can reposition this.
All right, so I see. So Control L. Oh, L, maybe this one. I definitely had something then. Oh, I see. So hold on to it and do that. So you can actually see it. There we go. The sun's in front. So that's quite handy. There we go.
And this will just give us a lot better visibility of our terrain. But now what we can do is we can select any one of these points. So for example, if I select this point, I can go ahead and move it and position it where I'd like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of these points, and if you hold down Alt and drag, that will go ahead and duplicate.
I know what you mean. Right. So, I want to grab hold of this. I want to move it over here. Well, actually, doesn't really matter, does it? Now let's move.
Duplicate. I'm going to take a point. I can go ahead and, but now what we can do is we can select any one of these points. So for example, if I select this point, I can go ahead and.
Okay. So I'm going to now need an idea of an island. Island shape. I just want to see an image of an island, just so I got. Kind of like the idea of one with a cove. That's too terrainy. Yeah, no, I think if we go, oh, paradise would be nice. The idea of having one like with a cove in, that would be cool. Why is that only doing that? Let's do Alt. Why does that? So let's bring that out that way. And then we want to do Alt. Another one. Bring that out that way. And then maybe another one. I'm going to take this one now. Alt there. Just a general shape. Something like that, so it's kind of like a code.
Move it and position it where I'd like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of these points, and if you hold down Alt and drag, that will go ahead and duplicate a point. So we're going to create a very simple shape of our island by just dragging and duplicating points and creating a very simple shape. So once you've created a very simple shape, something like this, we should be able to start playing around with the different landmass set.
But I want to, like I say, have these two. Can come back that a little bit more, maybe. I like that kind of kidney shape. Is it kidney shape? Kind of moony kidney shape, kind of like looking at the island. But it doesn't look natural. Like it needs to be like one side needs to be more that, and then we can go like I think if I have that, and then we can bring that in a bit, and then we can bring that in a little bit more there. Our island comes in a little bit like so. And then we're going to do another alt up that way, and we're going to bring that up that way, maybe a bit more that way, and then we can do another up that way, and bring it in there, and then mind this is just roughness. So I imagine like a ship coming in into dock into here. I think I've seen an image where basically it's like that a bit higher, but out more. So it's kind of got this like hook here. And that would go in a bit, and this would be out and up like there. I'd maybe take another one this way, so, and then I'll take that in a bit. It's starting to take shape now, which is good. Because an island's never like exactly, it doesn't look exact like a specific shape. It looks like kind of a here and there everywhere. So I want to be giving it a look of like maybe it comes in that way. So it wants to be like it's never going to be uniform, is it? I think that's good basic shape. Once it all smoothed out and everything else like that, then it will look right. I just wanted kind of a feel for a shape. So I'm imagining that what would happen is, let's say for instance you land on the island and you'd come into here and you dock into here, and then you've got this whole island to explore. So there's like this outcrop here. It maybe maybe an extra one here just to give it that little bit more point. There may be like so. Remember, the more splines on this, then the more kind of I can add to it and manipulate it and change it and do whatever with it. Right, so I think that's good. I'm happy with that shape. Kind of like a, I don't know, does it look like a hand? It's a hand like that. Look, that's the thumb, and that's the hand holding on to grab something. Ooh, hand island.
So you want to again select off of the brush or select any of the points, and that will select the entire brush. And then in the details, we should be able to set some of the settings. So we want to tweak some of the different settings to give this a more realistic look. So we need to go into the effects tab over here.
So let's look for the effects now. Material effects, there we go. Blurry, okay.
And expand the curl noise. So let's go ahead and play with
Okay, gonna look for curl noise.
The value. So in the curl noise, under the curl 1 strength, let's change this to 1. And what you'll notice automatically is it adds sort of this breakup on the edge. So we don't have a sharp edge. Now we can adjust some of the other different settings like the curl 2 strength. So if I set a value of 2, you can see that it adds sort of these islands on the edges. It just adds a little bit more realistic shape to our island. Now we can also change things like the tiling. So if I change the curl 1 tiling to 20, you can see that it will change the pattern type, as well as the curl 2 tiling. I can set this to 6, and it will also change sort of the pattern that we.
Okay, so I've got to mess around with this then. So let's change that to 2, see what happens. That actually straight away looks really good. Look at the way it's all broken up, nothing natural. That's good. We're going to change this to 0.5. 21 there, and then we're going to have tiling of 4 maybe. Now we have a looking, that actually looks really cool, I think. Look at the way it's like, it's got all these natural ravines in it. You like, that looks actually quite cool. I'm really happy with that. That looks really good. I am actually quite impressed. Thank you very much for that tutorial from, what's it from? Smart Polish tutorial. I need to save this into a new playlist, keep it private, for STW, because that's what I'm creating at the moment.
Next up, let's add some displacement. So if you scroll down, we have a section for displacement.
I don't know why I keep.
And displacement will allow us to overlay a displacement texture that will break up our terrain and allow for a more realistic look. So under the displacement height, we can change this to 1,620. We can also change things like the tiling. I'm going to change this up to 3. And you guys can play around with these values. These aren't.
All right, let's have a little mess around with that. See what he's done. I want to have a look a bit more like that. Let's press play and see. Oh, we don't have a player. We need to put an actor in it. So add file, hang on, plus player actor. Content. Where's that gone? That's a bit too fast. Let's save it. Let's get play. There we go. So this is our player start point. We don't have a player actor though, so let's escape. Let's add player actor. Character top one that goes visible. So we want this guy here. So this is quite realistic, doesn't it? That looks quite cool. Yeah, so I'm happy with that. Okay, let's get rid of. Now, there's a character. I'd love to know where that's gone. Cool. So we've got a bit of realistic terrain, looking terrain.
Just hard set, you can just play around with them and see what works best for you. And then we're going to play around with the terracing. So next up we have the terracing value, so expand that. And in here we can play around with these. So I set my terracing alpha to 1, and as you can see, it sort of flattened.
You say terracing alpha to 1. 1. Maybe 2. 3. Control Z. Right, so details. Okay, so we're going to put this to 1. So now we've got a bit of flat area.
Out this middle section in our map, which is where the playable area will be for the player, or will be in the main section of the island. Then we can also adjust things like the terrace smoothing to 20, and what that does is it brings up that middle section, so we have sort of this flat playable area. And so we have the basic shape of our island. We can actually take the full thing by reselecting the brush, and we can actually move it up or down. So as you can see, if we place it lower, it actually looks a lot better like this.
Okay, so let's like these then drop it. Like so.
So now we can add things like mountains, hills, valleys, and much more. So to add another brush, what you can do is select on this blueprint, and under the blueprint brush, you want to select the custom landmass brush again, and then
I just feel like I could do with a bigger, vaster play area. I think that terracing looks like on this one. There we go. So click on that terracing. So I'm gonna increase that to 1.5. See what happens. That gives us a bigger area. So 2. That's a bigger area. What would that gives it a little bit of roughness. 25. Let's get that to 3. Bigger area. It's too much now. That's, yeah, see the area isn't massive. I think we're going to keep to that. It gives us a bigger area to play with. Maybe I can, unless I just do this. No, because you've got to think of the island size. Yeah. And I can imagine there would be a mountain on the back here. Kind of on the back end here, there'll be mountains.
Click anywhere on the landscape and now we'll add another brush onto our landscape. So this adds again the default triangle. So as you can see, we can sort of create this mountain, and we want to tweak the settings so that this will obviously look more realistic than just a simple triangle. So again, you want to select off of that and reselect it so that we can adjust the settings such as the curl noise, the displacement, and much more. So let's create a mountain range. So in the details under the curl noise, we want to change this. So let's increase this to 2. And as you can see, it already creates sort of these mountains. We can also adjust things like the strength, the curl to strength, and I set this to 0.1. Then under the displacement, we can change the displacement settings. So I change this to 1,350, and for the tiling, I set this to 3.
Oh, that's because that's saying curl strength minus, so 0.1. 2 tiling 65. Why is it mine is going minus rather than up? There we go. This is better. There we go. Getting some mountains now. We'll just quickly turn them around so they're more this way. Go back to selecting that again. Let's go to, no, but that's too big. That is too big. Too much. There we go. That's better.
3. So you can see it adds more.
I'm just gonna make the island space bigger because, I mean, I've got all this room to play with. That will give me now, because I want this to be up here.
Realistic texture to our mountains. Now I think these are pretty good. We can actually select the full thing and move it up, so we can create much taller mountains like so. And if you want, you can duplicate these mountains to another region by just holding the Alt and dragging, and that will duplicate and add a copy of that exact brush. Now say we don't like the steep transition between the land here and the mountains. What we can do is that we can actually take this brush and duplicate this, and we can adjust the settings of this brush to create sort of a hill or a transition from our island to our mountain. So take this brush and in the settings, we're going to go to our fall off and we'll change this fall.
Hold on a second. That there, then this kind of there. The mountains are over this side, not over that side. And then we can maybe have that one. Yeah, but this is the one I'm going to do the hill that is
Off angle to 15, and as you can see, what it does is it adds sort of this big hill. Now we can adjust and raise up or down, and it adds more of a transition.
Okay. There we go. Beautiful. So you come along here. Maybe you kind of like this terrain
Between the island and our mountain range, but we also want to blend this with our mountains. We don't want it to just overtake our mountain range like this. So one way that we can blend these together is under the blend mode, we can change this to additive. And what that will do is it will add the mountain range along with this hill that we're adding on top of it.
For the first time in modern history, college student graduates are more unemployed.
So we can drag it and it will actually increase the peaks of the mountains if we drag it underneath it. So you guys can play around with the value. Values. If you want more fall off, you can increase the fall off like so. You can move it up or down and decrease it, and you can copy and paste it by just holding Alt and dragging to another section of the island. So you can go ahead and save that, and now we have some very simple mountains and a hill on our island map. Now let's go ahead and add a landscape material to our island. So head over to the Unreal Engine Marketplace, so open up the Epic Games Launcher and search for the landscape auto material, and you want to filter
so we need to go to Epic. I think it's called Fab now, isn't it? So landscape auto material. Check this. I can leave it here. Can I?
Marketplace, so open up the Epic Games Launcher and search for the landscape auto material, and you want to filter by free, so click on the max price free, and we should see this M.
That one. Personal use. Let's have a look. See what else we got. lots of stuff since this guy's done a video. Let's go to our home. We didn't do that automatically.
MW Landscape Auto Material.
MW Landscape Auto Material, that's the one.
That is free on the marketplace, so we can go ahead and select this. This is a very high quality and realistic landscape auto material that we can use. So let's go ahead and click add to project.
Okay, so let's add it to my project. And that one, add to project. And that means
Show all projects and search for our open world map. Select that and add that to our project. So now in our project, we can get out of the landscape mode by going back to our selection mode and open up our content drawer here. And in our content drawer, we should see a new folder for MW Landscape Auto Material. So double click, open that up. And then in there, we have a folder for materials, landscape, and we have the following.
oh, it's still adding it. It's 73%. I'm getting ahead of myself there. I've got 26 minutes left. Has it added it to it now? Ah, here we go. Landscape material. Landscapes. What's that under? Materials. Landscapes. Here we go. Cool.
Landscape materials. So in here, we want to select this island landscape material and we want to select our landscape. So select our landscape. As you can see, it only selects a certain grid on our landscape. So we want to select the whole thing. So in your outliner, you want to scroll up until you find our landscape right here. So this is the parent landscape. And in the details, you want to scroll down until you see the landscape material slot. And we can drag and drop our landscape material into that slot. And
okay, so in details. Okay, I get that. This is why they don't have. This is why they have details separate, right? Okay, so an outlander, set landscape. Then looking for, is it the default physics material, or no? It's the landscape material, content draw. I'm gonna drag this from over here. Landscape. Right, then we're going there to landscape material. Whoa, look at it. Let's have a look. Let's press play, see what it looks like. Let's go to that place. Where's that? Let's bring that up above there. Go forward, drop that down. Now press play. Oh, those rocks in that, they're actually quite big. Mountain range looks good though. That's cool. Why am I still moving? Yeah, look, that's kind of that looks kind of cool. Okay.
What you'll see is it automatically sets up the landscape material based on the slopes and elevation. And right now we want to tweak the settings because right now you can see it only shows dirt all over the landscape material. So we want to go ahead and tweak some of the settings in the material itself. Go ahead and open up the landscape material. And in here we can change some of the different settings. So if you expand all the details, we have a section for snow, water, dirt, grass, and much more. But we want to adjust some of the different settings that we have in here. So we can bring this side by side and have this right next to our level so we can see what we're adjusting. But in here, what I did is I played around with the values and I scrolled down to the water section and I unchecked use water. So I'm going to not use the water. And in the dirt section, we're going to go ahead and change the values in here. So each material layer has a world position. So this value corresponds with the height or world position in our level. So for example, if you were to click on the cube plus icon and drag in a simple cube, and if you look at that cube in the level and in the details, get the Z value, which is 1050, that will give us the exact height of that cube in our map. So you can use that value to correspond it with this max.
Okay, so we're going to add a basic vector. No, sorry, not vector. Add a basic shape, sorry. A basic shapes, there we go. Cube. So we can drop this down and this gives me, I want to drop you up there for a minute. I want to see my settings, the world settings, I presume. No, oh no, is it detail or no? It's actually detail, isn't it? There we go. So the world settings, so the location at the moment for that. Let's zoom into that. So this is ground level here. There.
World position to tell you at which height.
This is my team, and we get everything done with Monday.com. Sarah is a senior project manager, and she has...
Should you start having this material be displayed. So for example, for our dirt, I'm going to set this to 128 so that our dirt will be down here at the very bottom. Now scroll down till we hit grass, and for our grass max world position,
Okay, so dirt. Yeah, right, so But what height is our cube? One 730. That should be it. So grass should be at 1730. 1730 should be grass. Let's have a quick look at that. So now our grass is at more, and we have got some dirt mixed in there as well, which is good, but it looks like it's no, I'm going to have to do something about that because that looks just silly. That looks a bit better. Those things looked a bit daft the way they were. That one, and that one. I'm going to increase the height of that a little bit, and then we're going to get this one here. Why suddenly don't I have anything here? Let's do it along. Control Z, and then Alt, bring that across to here maybe? Oh, Control Z doesn't want to do it. Okay. But that does look alright, to be fair. I'm happy with that. I was going to add another bit here, but I might just have to add that. Oh, it's because, yeah, just realised I need to be in landscape mode. And I need to, and now I can go. The fall off wants to be. I don't want such steep. I don't think it should be so steep. So details up here. Oh, there we go. 20. And fall off on this one. 10. I think that looks nicer. A bit more height. No, give this more of a fallout. If the right. If you look at this angle now, the cliffs don't look so like. There's a nice shape to those cliffs. Look at them. Yeah, this is good. So now we're. Okay. Go up. Go down. Let's see what happens once I adjust this one. Maybe you can kind of give it like a curve, then do it. How does that look? Yep. Okay.
We want to increase this and set this to 3,900. And as you can see, it sort of covers our island or the peaks of it. Now I want to tweak the dirt on our grass. So we can tweak the blending between our dirt and grass layers. So if you go to the grass and under the MW grass slope power, we can change this value from 4 down to 1. And as you can see, it sort of removes that dirt. From our island blending, and it only has the grass and stone shown like so. Now to adjust things like our mountains and the snow on the peaks of the mountains, you can adjust world position. So as you can see, if I increase the value, it will change.
Okay, so world position. I think the snow needs to be 2, 5 to 0. Yeah, so you don't want it all the way down the bottom, you want it more towards the top because of what it is. That's fine. Okay.
At what height should the snow start to grow on our landscape, so you can adjust it or tweak it to your liking. So next up, we want to add a water or ocean.
Right, now our dirt looks off because it's like too high, so we're going to sort the dirt out next. Right, so the dirt, that's the dirt, here we go, so well positioned at the moment. So we do 500 just to see what happens. Does that get rid of a lot more dirt? What happens if I do it to 1000? Doing the extreme so I can see the change that happens. Oh, look, see, look. If I do it to 10, for instance, what would happen to it then? Grass is at well position is there. We'd want that to be maybe 700 there. And then what else we got? Stones, right? Stones. Rocks. What happens to rocks? Let's leave that as it is. I don't know. Variation. 1.0. So let's press play. Let's have a look. Yeah. Woohoo! I'm bouncing. Right, let's go.
To our landscape. So we want to go to our plugins, go to edit plugins and search for water. And we want to
Water. Restart. Save. Gotta remember to save. Right, coming up to the end. Which means we should
enable the
add
water
water
plugin.
well now.
So click on the checkbox, click yes, and click restart now. and save everything. Now we'll go ahead and restart our project. And one thing to note is that if you're doing this for the first time, you might see a compile shaders in the bottom right, and that might take you 20 to 15 minutes or longer depending on your PC specs. So now that we're back in our project, you want to go to this Q plus I.
Right, so we're going to have to wait for that. On that case, I'm going to stop there. Thank you for watching if you're watching. If not, I'll catch you.